There's a lot of talk here on YouTube about why Japanese games aren't selling or why aren't they coming here. I don't see why this is even a topic. First off, why aren't Japanese games coming here? Because it costs a lot to fucking translate them, and it takes hours of programming, and Japanese games have really never fucking come here. Like we've always gotten like a third of the games that come out in Japan from over here. And second off, Americans don't buy Japanese games because well, that's another one. Americans don't buy Japanese games, and why? Because the quality has rapidly declined. Really, there's very little difference between a Japanese game last gen and a Japanese game this gen, because they don't evolve. They stick with the same formulas. They're formulatic. They like to make a concept and then do the same thing over and over and over again. They don't like to deviate from that. That's why Japanese RPGs really haven't changed much. I mean, they've messed with the systems a little bit, but the way you play it and the way the controls work and how everything works is pretty much the same. There's very little difference. I mean, you have your offshoots like Disgaea and stuff, but for the most part, it's pretty much the same formula. I mean, and you do have, people who are very different, that will stray off the path, but for the most part, Japanese games do not control well, and that goes for stuff like Demon Souls and Dark Souls. I borrowed this game from my brother. My brother bought this game. I have no fucking idea why, because he's the Madden Call of Duty gamer. He bought this game. I fucking threw it in my system. God, these controls are fucking terrible. The difficulty doesn't come because it's a fucking gruesomely hard game or whatever. It comes from the fact that the controls are something I'd see on the fucking PS2. It's just last generation shit prettied up and sold to a new audience. That's all it is. Like, it's just, Like, the controls in that are terrible, the camera sucks, and that's the same for a lot of Japanese games. And you see your little innovations every now and then come out, but it's just, for the most part, you just see rehashed shit. And I buy a lot of obscure bullshit from Japan, and I'm not a big Japanese gamer, and I never will be, because just Americans have just evolved. Like, they understand the internet, which Japanese companies to this very fucking day do not. They don't understand how the internet works. They don't understand how, how lobbies work. They don't understand anything about the internet. And the few companies from Japan that do understand, just throw out shit every year. The same shit. Dynasty Warriors, fucking Street Fighter. You see the same shit come out every year from Japan. And Americans get sick of that, and they find it stagnating, and they don't want to buy it. The Japanese gaming does not come here, and Japanese gaming is not popular here because the quality has declined. It's gotten to the point where Western developed games have gotten so good of quality that Japanese gamers are starting to break away. Battlefield 3 sold a shitload. Call of Duty's starting to sell there. Why? Because those games are just so well made. As much as I dislike Call of Duty and how it works, I mean, it's a really well made game. The controls are perfect. Like the way it works is perfect. I just wish they had a little bit more originality and didn't use this type of structure. But if it ain't broke, don't fix it. That's Japanese model, and that's why you don't see a lot of people buying Japanese shit, because it's just not that great. It's just not that innovative. It's just not. Why would I play it? Seriously, I don't know why I would get Arcade Edition when I have these two games. I don't know. I don't even know why I have these two games. I just don't know. Like, the similarities are just too good. Like, it's too much of the same. And they just don't understand online. Like, I'm playing Soul Calibur 5, and the ranking system is still broken, and it has the same problem as fucking 4. And it's been how many fucking years? And they still have not fixed the online system for the fucking game? And, you know, another thing is that they come out with niche titles that would only appeal to a very small crowd. I mean, seriously, a puzzle game with a Japanese RPG story smacked in between it like a sandwich? Like, it's not that great of a fucking formula. It only appeals to a very small audience. This can never be a massive seller. Ever. And that's just how it is, man. And I don't see why people who love Japanese games go on the internet and complain. Because the fact is that if there were enough of you for companies to matter, I mean, if there were enough of you that would be profitable for companies to port shit over here, they would. Instantly. But the fact is that you're a tiny, itty-bitty fragment of the market, and you're only going to get Soul Calibur and Final Fantasy. And you might as well just stick with it. Because it's all it's got going for you. It's gotten to the point where Microsoft has completely given up on Japan. Completely. And Japan's given up on Microsoft. Because Japanese gamers are like the only people who give a shit about any of this stuff. And it's hard for me to give a shit. Like Soul Calibur 5. Leaps and bounds better than 4 in terms of gameplay. But the online is complete trash. Complete trash. Almost unplayable. Only playable in private lobbies. The matchmaking sucks. And yeah, there's nothing I could do about it. And I'm telling you, if this had good matchmaking, if this Smash Brothers and all these other fighters had good matchmaking, Street Fighter wouldn't even be that popular. The only reason Street Fighter is popular is because the matchmaking is well done. That's the only reason in this day and age that people would still continue to buy year after year Street Fighter shit, is because Capcom is the only fucking Japanese developer that understands online. It's Smash Brothers and Soul Calibur, because everyone I know loves those fucking games. Everyone I know loves Soul Calibur, but they're like, I don't know if I should buy it because the online sucks. And that's the problem. Japanese developers need to get with the times. They need to know how to make better controls, and they need to know how the internet works. And I'm telling you, they would be just as competitive. And you'd probably see a lot more people buying stuff, which would mean a lot more Japanese games coming here. But the fact is that they have low-quality games, and they appeal to audiences that aren't here. And it's not that Western games are... It's not that Western... And you could shout all day that Western shooters and shit are terrible. But the fact is that they're just well made, and people go to things that are well made until they stagnate, and people don't give a shit about them anymore. That's how it works here in America. Eventually, these shooters will have their time where they will stagnate, and the new genre will rise, and people will go to that genre. Because that's just how it works. It happened to platformers. It happened to JRPGs, which were the big thing last gen. Which is why I think I'm seeing a lot of resurging, because last gen gamers are just pissed off that their JRPGs aren't the shit anymore, and that people couldn't care less about fucking JRPGs nowadays. But that's just the way it is, and you're gonna have to live with it. And unless Japanese developments just really get on the ball and just knock out of the park with great games that can compete with Western games, it's never gonna happen. And you can shout at me all day that Japanese games have competed. They've been good this generation. You can tell me that all they want, but even at game developers you see all these Japanese game developers just saying, oh, well, it's on the decline. It sucks. Japanese game development hasn't been good for years. Yeah, because it hasn't. It hasn't. You can ask Japanese developers themselves. Japanese game development has not evolved since the PS2. Get over it.